Robert, oh boy, you mischievous little instigator, you. You purposely tag me so that I can watch you attempt to teach matrix reimprinting. Okay, I'm here. You got me. So let me explain a few things. You know that I'm the first matrix reimprinting trainer in the U.S., so I've been doing this way long. And you don't quite have it right, you know? And the next thing I'm going to hear you teach is that the world is flat. I'm kidding. You know, you say you believe in I have a saying, you know, if it's true for you, it's true for you. And I know that you believe that as well. So that's how we approach our clients, because if it's raining outside, then, and it's a sunny day, but they say it's raining outside, you have to approach them that it's raining outside, and you use the examples of knowledge of past lives, or, you know, Adam and Eve and things like that. So yes, whatever you're doing, whatever the person in front of you doing, this is how you approach your client. So I would like you to understand what we mean in matrix reimprinting by the matrix, because what it's not a bunch of little, what did you call it? A bunch of data floating around in our field. So it's not just some little bubble outside of you with all these memories floating around it. No, the matrix is actually everything, including your mind and cells, yes, and including your auric field. But it's a lot more than that. And even, you know, even Neo knew that. Ask, you know, Keanu Reeves. What the matrix is an entire everything. It's actually everything. And anyway, what is your mind anyway? Is it inside your brain? Is it just your mind is inside your brain? It doesn't go out anywhere? I know you talked about the law of attraction, so it's not just in your mind. And by the way, where is the subconscious or the unconscious, depending on who you are, what you call it up? Where is that? Is that stuck in your brain too? I mean, what about cell phones and the old time broadcast? You know, what about waves? What about EEGs? You know, they're measuring your wavelength. Does the waves just stick around and bounce around your skull? That's not what we believe, okay? Every body part has its own personal field, and not just the aura. Livers, hearts, you can look at all the studies in Heart Math Institute of how the field comes out and how it talks to all the other body parts of your field. And it's not just me that's saying that. And by the way, in matrix reimprinting, if you get beat 100 times, 50 times by your daddy or whatever it was, you do not have to go in and work with all 150 times, because what we're doing is we're flipping the belief system. We're changing the belief system. So it's same as EFT. You know EFT. Same as the generalization effect. You don't have to do them all. What we're trying to do is flip the learning, flip the belief system, because that's what we do. Matrix changes the perception, the negative learnings, you know, and therefore our responses to what is stored in our entire matrix, not just the little bubble floating around the field. My husband and I can watch the same exact movie, and at the end of the movie he'll say, "What about that Uncle Bill?" I'm like, "There was an Uncle Bill?" So you know why that happens, right? It's because my reference events and my reference learnings and perceptions are different than him. So my filter is different than him. And that's the way it is for everybody. And what we do is refer to these pictures in our fields, which includes our mind. Little trauma capsules in our brain. You know, we learned that from Dr. Bob Scare. You know, it's just, and we learn it in EFT, you know. You've been in EFT long enough, you know, the guy with the red beard on the picture, which means that all the information is trapped, and we tap on all that information. Matrix reimprinting, you don't have to go through that, because it ends up taking care of all that without having to actually tap on every aspect in the world. Which brings me to your 10 kids in the family. It's not that the data is it is the data affecting you, but you create the data. So it's your perception and your learnings that create these reference points. And in matrix reimprinting, we work on these matrix points. I mean, these reference points. If it's not in a little bubble, it's in our whole entire matrix, which, by the way, our matrix works with other people's matrix, works with other people's matrix. You know, you've heard of family constellations, right? Something like that. I got a bunch of books here for you. You want to learn more about this? Okay? First of all, I just want to remind you that when we're talking about those 10 kids, they have the same experiences, but they're going to see it differently, like my husband and myself in the movie, right? So they're going to perceive and learn something different from that event, even if they're in the same family and the same thing happens, and they have the same family constellations. They have the same, the ancestor generational influence, is because it's your perception, and that's what we change in the Matrix, is your perception of things, how you learn these events, what you learn from these events. And so the best way to do it, to find out what we mean by the Matrix, look up Rupert Sheldrake in Amorphic Fields. I've got some really funny stories about him. About what it's in fields of information. And it's not just the little bubble around us or the auric field. There's a ton of them, which is what we refer to in the Matrix. And so each of those 10 kids could have 10 different learnings from the same thing. And that's why it's so important. What's true for you is true for you, right? So you know that. So the Matrix is everything. And if you want to know more about the fields, what the Matrix is, that's all it is a field. You've heard of Lynn McTaggart, right? So we have the field. We've heard of, so how about touching the light? This is Meg Blackburn, Dr. Meg Blackburn, who is also kind enough. Now, I can't see what I'm broadcasting here. Let me switch to see what I'm broadcasting here. See this lovely picture over here? Nice enough to actually draw a picture of our own personal field. And that's not even just the personal field. That's how we're connected. Our mind is connected to all of our fields. All right? Because we can also protect ourselves with our fields. And that's the auric field. That's not the auric field. That's information field. Not the same as an auric field. How about ascending into miracles? Okay? How about, hey, let's go for the biggie, A Course in Miracles. All right? And let's just say you don't want to read books. So you can look up anything, but Heart Math Institute is phenomenal. They have a bunch of stuff on the internet about the studies that they've done, not just intuition, but how intuition works with the field of the heart and things like that. Wonderful way to look. And so videos, you can watch videos. You like videos. Of course, the 1960s video, the 1960s, What the Bleep, that teaches you a lot. But if nothing else, and I'm going to sneeze, I think. Hold on just a minute. If nothing else, Robert, please, please, please watch this one. This is the living Matrix. This will explain entirely on what the Matrix is, and all the fields and all the information and all the little memories and everything, the information that our body gets and that we refer to. Since you're a teacher, darling, we have a responsibility. And you said, we have to know as much as we can to teach others. And, if it's something that you're not really certain of, you seem to be certain that we were little floating, whatever you called it, floating things in the bubbles in the auric field or whatever. That's not it. So if you could please do what you did with quantum physics, and when you said, in my experience, you said, in my opinion, in my experience, as I understand. How about any of those? All right? Instead of saying that they're little bubbles floating in the field. And by the way, come on to my Matrix course. It's Memorial Day weekend in Philadelphia. Please come. You can ask me all the hard questions. You can argue with me. But I'd love you to redo Matrix so that you can, because you said you went to a class, so that you can fully understand what you're referring to. Okay? Now, remember, as teachers, we do have responsibility. Also, remember that all misunderstanding is a lack of information. It's a lack of, we all have our filters. And so when everybody learns something, just like my husband and watching the same movie, we're gonna pick up what we're gonna, all your students, they're gonna pick up as much as they can pick up, right? And so they might learn something a little askew and not get the whole picture. So please understand that you do not have the whole picture of Matrix Reimprinting. And I'm all in to live and let live, but please don't be teaching that Matrix is a bunch of bubbles in the field or whatever you said, okay? Because it is the Matrix. So please watch this. Please, 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 please. The Living Matrix movie. Okay. And much luck to you. And keep spreading the word, but try to spread the right word. Okay. Thanks for watching, and I'm sure I'll hear from you again.